Wellness Show, episode 311. This is your host, Tyhson Banighen, the Empath Business Strategist. I help empaths discover their divine gifts, remove obstacles, and achieve true success. Want some help? Give me a call. Toll free in North America, 1-866-369-7464. Or internationally, 1250-803-2480. Welcome to the Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyhson Banighen, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more. So this is Tyhson Banighen with the Wellness Show, and we're back today, and today we're talking with Bashar, and we're talking about Burnt Out to Bentley, and he's an entrepreneur and has been quite successful, but he has a really interesting story to tell about how he got from where he is right now. And it wasn't an easy path, was it? So being an immigrant and going through, you've got lots to say, and not only that, he can help you, whoever you are out there listening, to get from where you are to where you want to be in a much shorter time. So welcome to the show.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much for the time to actually bring me on. It's definitely an honor to be on your show.
Yeah, so give us a little bit of your background. First of all, you're an immigrant, so that wasn't easy, right?
No, I actually kind of really broke down the story yesterday. I was on another podcast, and honestly, it was it kind of all goes back to about 2003 when really the war on Iraq happened, and going through being kidnapped twice, being shoved in the trunk of a car to going to refugee camps before we came to the U.S. and really losing everything on the way. So when we got here, not having anything, all that stuff just kind of really, added together to where a lot of people, sometimes when people ask me about how my childhood was, I say, well, it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, what childhood?
What childhood? That did not exist.
Yeah. Wow, so that's amazing. So going through a lot of trauma and a lot of change and transformation. And so you come to and immigrate, and then that's not the end of the story, is it? That's only the beginning of a next chapter.
That is the beginning because honestly, it all really started when, like, way back when, so my father used to actually be an entrepreneur. He was a business owner. He owned the second largest factory of clothing in Iraq for in the 80s, 90s, and then even late 90s, right? Towards the end, kind of things weren't going as well as they were always.
Mm-hmm.
And that's due to the old government that we had under Saddam Hussein's ruling back in in 80s, 90s, and then early 2000s. So really what was the biggest issue is that there was a period of time where I couldn't dream and I couldn't really look up, kind of say, okay, in the next 20 years, 30 years, I want to become this. But since I was a little boy, I always used to look up to my dad. I always wanted to become something because he was, this businessman, right? I used to as businessman, the whole entrepreneur phase or phrase just kind of started popping up the last few years. Before it used to be businessman, right? So,
right.
So he was a businessman, and I wanted to be like him. So I always thought, I'm destined to doing more, becoming more, achieving more in life. And so really the first part of it, I was young, I had my family around me, although, we ran away from our country, where I was born and raised, came to America, literally didn't know the language, didn't know anything really. Just going through all that stuff. But on top of all that, we had a family, we were all one big unit, right? But
right.
Then another thing struck me when that was about 4 years ago. That was the biggest, the most devastating thing in my life when I lost my restaurant, when my restaurant burned down. I briefly talked about it last time. And that was after, we had been in the US for about, I want to say almost 10 years, about 8, 9 years. Me and my brother had started our first business, which was back in 2011. total success. Once again, I had my family around me. You know, it was a family business.
Yeah.
My brother ran it, but my mom and dad also worked with us. You know, they helped us out. I was 21 at the time. Got to my head, I'm this golden boy. Anything I touch, I turn into gold. So I went into and opened my own thing. And that was when I made the biggest move. I mean, all by myself, really no help or anything like that. No one really guiding me, and didn't have any past experience. Told my parents, stay away. I know what I'm doing. I got this. You know, I wanted to like prove something to them that
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing, you know. And then I guess it was ego mixture with young, 23-year-old dude, all like everything together, you know. And went all in on a restaurant and bar, 2003. 6 months into, I started realizing that things are not going as expected, you know. Bills or checks began bouncing, employees began, complaining. Every time, like, we keep running out of food and drinks and things like that, and I can't re-up because my bank account is always low. Vendors began suing, and then landlord became threatening to kick me out. And that's when it happened. 2015, April 28th, fire happened. 5 o'clock in the afternoon, went to pick up my girlfriend, who's now my wife, to go to dinner. Got a call from someone at the restaurant saying the kitchen's on fire. I'm really, really, really glad no one got hurt, because it was during business hours. I had two cooks inside of the kitchen. They had literally stepped out. It was like kind of like during, like, it was rush hour. They had pushed everything out. They had stepped out of the kitchen, just to kind of grab a drink of water, hang out with the bartenders. And then, it was gas leak and just boom, By the time I got back, everything was gone. The kitchen was, burnt up. And I had no insurance. One of my unpaid bills was my insurance bill. And, my landlord kicked me out. I had lost about a $500,000 investment. I bought the place for $200,000, invested another $250,000, $300,000 over the course of 3 years. Whether if it was loss every month, losing, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, accumulating debt. I owed the IRS $42,000. I had 2 repos on my record. I had, lawsuits. So I'm 25 years old, no business, no money, debt, no credit to get loans or do anything. And it's like, where do I go from here?
Wow. So a couple of things though in the beginning is just a curiosity as we knew this next step is, one is, how important do you think entrepreneurial is in your genes? Like, how much can you give credit to your dad and that whole growing up with that, like sort of the rich dad, poor dad. Right. You had a dad that was really an inspiration for you, right?
Absolutely.
So that's important.
Definitely. So I think a lot of it I owe it to my dad. A lot of it I also owe it to my early on mentors, which until I was about 20 some years old, I didn't even realize I had a mentor. Yeah. All growing up. And that's what people sometimes say, well, how do I get like mentoring is so expensive. How do I get a hold of a mentor? In my opinion, mentors could be simply people that you look up to, that you idolize. Maybe it's a specific action they have taken and they have seen, or whatever it is. To me, the first mentor that I kind of grew up to was, aside from my father, was Sylvester Stallone. I grew up, although there were, his Rocky movies were a lot earlier, my time. They came out, 76, 77. I was born in 1990. But I grew up watching Rocky Balboa. I was in love with those movies. And it wasn't so much of the movie, but it was so much the message behind and with the movie that came with the movie, It was just getting that, like one of Rocky Balboa's, not Sylvester, but Rocky Balboa's main, quotes that literally, it's all over my life. It's not about how hard you hit, but it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, right? And that stuck with me for 20 plus years, So that was.
Let's go back to that. So let's go back to, so you got this big hit. You really got smacked, right? That was a big one. So how did you recoup from that?
So honestly, the restaurant burned down. I got a DUI 2 months later because I began drinking heavily. And then I got a job as a dishwasher at Hilton Hotels. So, I was just like really accumulating, because there I was operating a $500,000 establishment, managing 10, 15, 20 employees at once. Now I'm working as a dishwasher. I couldn't even afford buying proper shoes. I was wearing some like dressy shoes, and I'd be like just slipping all over the kitchen because I had no money. Whatever money I was making from my job, I was paying the pissed off employees because they all lived like blocks away from me. And then I didn't want to get beat up walking to my house at night. You know what I mean? So I got offered a job as the kitchen manager because the supervisor turned out to be one of the food salespeople purveyors that I used to work with. You know what I mean? He had quit working for, I think it was Cisco or something, and then he went working for Hilton Hotels. So he saw me, he's like, holy crap, like I know the experience you have, things like that. It's like, my kitchen manager just quit, 60 grand a year, full benefits. I'm like, wow, okay. I mean, where I am right now, I mean, that could come in handy, you know? And then I was like, okay, so do I go take this job, or do I say, screw this, I've gone through worse, I'm gonna bounce back, right? I had just met my girlfriend. I felt like she was the one. I felt like, there was something special going on there. And I'm like, okay, if I make $60,000 a year, I mean, how much am I gonna clear? And how am I gonna even be able to clear my debt and actually be able to pay, like get married and all that stuff, right? I'm 25. I'm not 18, but at the same time, I'm not 35. But I mean, in the next 3 to 5 years, something major has got to happen. And it didn't seem like it was going to happen with $60,000 a year. So I turned it down, and and I just said, screw it. One night, I have my Toshiba laptop still there. One night I sat in front of my Toshiba laptop and I said, you're supposed to you're supposed to make me money. Show me how, right? And just jumped on it. Started the research. For about a year before the restaurant burned down, I had kept on hearing this term, I work from home, but I didn't understand what that meant. I didn't know what that meant. To me, you either have a job, you go and, do something, or if you have a business, you've got to have a physical location, some type of an exchange between you and the customers, So I started researching, that night, didn't sleep until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. The next like 6 months I spent it experimenting. Affiliate marketing, MLM, flipping houses online, trading, penny stock trading. I whatever money I was making, I was investing in courses. And then selling on Amazon just stuck to me. Something about it stuck to me. I don't know what it was. Whether it was the fact that 75% of online, Amazon sellers make over 100,000, the fact that Jeff Bezos is the richest man, or whatever. I'm not sure what it was, but something stuck to me. And I gave it a shot. I took a small loan from my dad. Over the course of like 3 months, I lost $7,000 in that, whatever, in that venture. And then I had to kind of stop, I was like, okay, so what's going on here? Like, am I just a failure? Like, is it that anything I touch now, it just turns into ashes? Like, what's happening? Like, now, and it wasn't even the fact that I was failing or anything, but it was the fact that I lived with parents, and I lived with my dad, who I looked up to, who I had told, I'm going to retire you when I'm 23, 24 years old. Now I'm 25 going into 26, and he just keeps giving me, And I was thankful that, we had some reserves over, whatever from our first business, because we also, sold that business. So we made a decent chunk of change. But I had literally lost almost all of it on my business. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was walking up and walking in the house every day and then looking at my dad in the eyes, and then I can feel the disappointment. And maybe he didn't, make me feel it, or maybe he wasn't disappointed, but I could see it. I could feel it. You know what I mean? So, anything I do until today, it's more about making him proud before anything else. Before anything else, making him proud. Like, whenever I hit big goal, first person I tell is my wife, because she's right next to me. Second person I tell is I call my dad, and I tell him, we just hit this goal. We just crushed this. I just got this deal. I just did, you know what I mean? So, they're very proud of me right now, but I feel like they weren't so much back then. You know what I mean? Right. So it was really that, so I just had to kind of sit back and say, okay, what's happening? Like, what's going on? Why do I keep failing? And I found one thing that was very common. Why did I fail in my business? Because I had no experience. I had no knowledge. I had no mentoring. I had no guidance. It was just me. I think I know what I'm doing. It's like, I made a live video the other day. It's like, today people bench watch YouTube and think that they're experts.
Yeah.
For me, it was, I don't know if you've heard of John Taffer and Bar Rescue.
Go ahead.
So it's this show where John Taffer, he's this, supposed to be this kind of like what's his name, Gordon Ramsay, where he goes, he has this show called Hell's Kitchen. He goes in and like models these, John Taffer is like Gordon Ramsay, but to bars and restaurants.
Right.
So what I would do is I would bench watch Bar Rescue. And then after 3 months of watching it, I thought I was an expert at running bars and restaurants. And I was like, I know what I'm doing. So it's literally the same thing with people with YouTube today. Like
Right.
beginner sellers, Amazon sellers, they'll bench watch YouTube for like 4 months and they think they know what they're doing. They go invest money and then, they just eat shit, right? So that's kind of what happened. So I'm like, okay, so this is what's going on. I'm going into something without any experience. I need to have a blueprint. I've never done this before. And that was it. My first course, I called my wife, my girlfriend at the time. I'm like, I need your card number. I'm going to be putting in $497 on it. She's like, well, what the hell you're doing? You're crazy. I'm like, just don't worry about it. Got her card, bought my first course, shittiest course I ever bought in my life, but it started me in the right direction.
Right.
3 months later, I made my first, I profited for the first time in like half a decade, $1,200. Second month, $2,500, and then $4,500, and then it just kept on, going from there.
Wow, that's amazing. So do you credit a lot to the fact that you went and found people that knew how to do it, took the courses, or did you find mentors at that time too that were in the business that somehow a bit ahead of you that you could then mentor with, or?
Absolutely. So it was a combination of everything,
Yeah.
seeking help, like being coachable and being okay with being told that you're wrong and leaving my ego outside. That was the biggest thing. It's that I had a humongous ego, and that if someone came up to me and said, bro, like, you're doing this wrong, I'd be like, get the hell out of my face. You don't know what you're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. Today, whenever I hear someone says, I know what I'm talking about and I know what I'm doing, I try to stay away from them.
Right. Well, the interesting thing is you're now in a position to help other people, right?
Absolutely, man. The cool thing is, and that's, like a lot of people ask me, like, what exactly are you doing? Why are you doing this? What's I guess, what's the purpose? Like, if you're selling, if you're a multiple seven-figure seller on Amazon, why are you teaching people? And honestly, it's about creating awareness, because so many people, like, you and I, you work from your computer, I work from your computer. I know so many people that literally all they need, like this phone right here, can make so much money.
Yeah, my coach says you need two things. You need able to take a credit card, and you know how to use a phone.
Absolutely, man. And it boggles my mind how many people still have a 9-to-5 that they complain about. Like, look, nothing against people that have a 9-to-5 or have a job or whatever. I know people that are doing awesome things, right? But if you're complaining, if you're always complaining, saying, I could do so much better, like, this is not worth it, I don't know why I'm doing this, and you're not changing, you're not doing anything else, but all you got to do is just pick up this phone, do some research. There are so many opportunities. You can literally make so much money using this phone and some internet, as you said, just maybe credit card. It's ridiculous,
So how do you help people? Because I know that's your passion, right? With the amount of money you're making, you could be doing all sorts of things, like on a beach or on vacation or whatever. So why do you have this passion, and I know you have it, to help other people?
My passion isn't travel, I do travel. We take a trip every 3-4 months. I enjoy time. I don't know if it's, I guess the term is workaholic. I'm not sure.
Right.
I feel obligated to working, whatever that is. Like, if I take time off right now and decide to just go to the mall, I will feel like shit, like internally. And I don't know if it's because I was born that way, it's DNA, or maybe because I have, like, it doesn't matter. And that's the thing, that what happens to a lot of people is that when you get comfortable, what happens to a lot of people is they'll hit it big and then they'll get comfortable. And that's why ball players, rappers, all these guys, a lot of them, not all of them, I can't say all of them, but a lot of them fall after their careers are done, because they make so much money in a short amount of time, and then they just blow it. But then they don't realize how hard they work to get where they are, and then they just get comfortable. And I think when we get comfortable, that's when we become the most vulnerable, right?
That's true.
And it's also because people don't dream big enough, or don't keep resetting their goals. Like I talked about this in yesterday's podcast as well. I've seen it a lot of times where people just want to make $1 million. I think that the stats where like 75 or 85% of people living in the US will make $1 million in their lifetime, even if you're earning like 20 or 30 or $40,000 a year over the course of like 30, 40, 50 years, right? But it's not about just earning $1 million. It's about when and how and how long. What is the time frame? Arnold says, for me to have become who I am and where I came from was simply because I set a goal, a target. I was very, very, like, I could, like, if I could close my eyes, I could see, I could dream it, like I could like almost touch it, you know? I knew exactly what I wanted, and I attached a timeline to it. If you say I want to make $1 million, $1 million when? Next year, next month, when you're 75, like in the next lifetime, when do you want to make $1 million? You know what I mean? Or I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay. When I moved to this apartment, one of the main reasons why I moved to this apartment was simply because the gym was downstairs. And it's simply because I was making excuses. I never had great shape. I was never in great shape. And it was always, well, the gym is 10 minutes away and I don't want to drive in the morning, blah, blah, blah. It's cold and it's hot. And, now I hop on the elevator, a few stories down, the gym is right there. But I made a commitment, I said, I'm going to lose 15 pounds in 6 weeks. I'm going to hit the gym 6 days a week. This is my 6th week. I've lost 17 pounds and I hit the gym every single day ever since I started. And it was
I'm really proud of you, because I know for myself, I do go to the gym 3 times a week. It takes me an hour to get to the gym, half an hour there, half an hour back. So by the time I do there, and we might as well do the town shopping, that's half a day. So that's a day and a half away from work. Yet I need to do that because being fit is part of my business plan.
Absolutely.
The two are so connected. I mean, health and wealth are intimately connected. Yep. So, I think it's really important for anybody listening on this, to this show, is that, health and wealth, that's why it's called, the wellness show, health, wealth, and enlightenment. That all three are interconnected. You want to grow spiritually, then you need some wealth to do that. And you need a good, healthy body to do that too. So what are you offering people? I mean, you've done this, you've been there. Are you helping people get on Amazon? How do you help people?
Absolutely, man. So, I have, and I think you're going to be tagged, you have a link somewhere here. You're going to be.
Yeah, I'll have a link in the wellness show notes. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. So, it's a 25-minute workshop where I break down the fundamentals of selling on Amazon. A lot of people don't even know what Amazon FBA stands for or what FBA stands for. One of the reasons why Amazon is one of the biggest platforms, aside from being trustworthy and kind of just being really out there, is because it's so convenient. Like, a lot of the big things that happen nowadays and that get popular simply because they offer convenience to the customer, right? And also to this, like us sellers, literally all we do is we find products that already, like, we're not inventing new products. We're locating products that already sells well on Amazon. We're sourcing it from China. So we go to Amazon.com, we find whatever sells well, right? And then what we do is we source it from China, and then we don't physically go there. There's a website called Alibaba.com, which a lot of people watching today probably know about it. We source it from there. We simply create like a different variation, like something new. We offer something that isn't being offered on the market already, and we ship the product to Amazon. And that's the cool thing about it. Like, people do drop shipping, people do all that stuff, but you have to fulfill the orders. You have to ship it from the manufacturer all the way to the customer. It takes like 2 weeks, where your inventory is being shipped to Amazon's warehouse. Amazon will store the product for you. They will fulfill the orders every time you get an order. They will pack it, they will ship it to the customer and do customer service, and their lead time is only 2 days, which is why it makes the platform the most amazing platform in the world right now.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. And I mean, here's my orders here for my wellness store, right?
Yeah.
I have to fulfill all these orders, right? Not only do I make the product, but now I have to go package them all, and then I have to put the labels on here, take them down to the post office and ship them all. I mean, this is time consuming.
Yeah.
Is there money in here? Yeah. Is there a lot of money in here? No. It's time consuming. So what you're saying is, if Amazon was the one that was doing the packaging and everything and fulfilling the orders, then they're out of here within 24 to 48 hours from the person who buys it, right? It's on the way to them.
Right, and then you don't store the product, you don't go to the warehouse, you don't go to UPS, whatever, FedEx, everything is automated, and that's the cool thing about it.
Cool.
Awesome, man.
So are you then, so you're sort of pre-sourcing what you think is, leading products wherever and then having Amazon do the fulfilling for you. Is that what you're doing?
That's correct. Yeah. So as I said, is that we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not inventing, like, I'm not the smart person at all. So I'm not, inventing these awesome, cool products or anything like that. Simply all I'm doing is, so here, like, people don't understand this, is that Amazon does over 53% of the entire online shopping. So simply all we're doing is we're finding products that already sells well on Amazon. Like, Amazon is bringing the traffic for you.
Right.
They provide a platform, they bring traffic, and then they bring sellers. So the sellers, all they have to do is see what these people here like, and then sell those products to them. That's it. That's all you got to do.
But they're not just but are you selling both existing Amazon products as well as sourcing products that Amazon doesn't have and making it available for Amazon to be the go-between?
Right. So we focus on products that already exist on Amazon, right?
Okay. So you're going through the products and saying, hey, this is really would be very valuable for my tribe or my network, or they'd like this, or this would be really cool for them. And then you market it for them.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so do you have your own store, so to speak?
Yeah, I do. And we private label our own products. So let's say I found that whatever, this case, this kind of case, like the marble case or whatever, sells, 400 units per month. And let's say it sells for $20. I can source it for, let's say, $4. Amazon is going to take another $4. So I can probably make about $10, $11 in net profits, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a manufacturer in China. I'm going to tell them, I want you to create me something similar to this, but I also want you to maybe put like a screen, a screen protector, and maybe like some headphones with it. So I'm going to create a bundle. So now this item isn't selling on Amazon right now. Something similar is selling on Amazon, but this exact bundle isn't available on Amazon. So I'm going to make my product unique. So now when someone searches, iPhone cover case or whatever, they're going to see that some sellers are selling just the case for $19.99, but I'm selling this and the protector for $26.99. And if you really buy them all separately, it's like $35. So they're going to come and buy it from me, right?
Right. Cool. I like it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. So the link for people to get hold of you is in the show notes, right? And
absolutely.
How long does it typically take you to help somebody go from ground zero to being up and running?
6 weeks. It's the time for our program now that will, take someone from nothing, like literally no idea what FBA even stands for, all the way to launching their first successful product. And when I say successful product, each product we teach in the program has the potential of making you a minimum of $3,000 to $5,000 per month. And that's profit, not revenue. All
right. And so do you have certain time frames in which people sign up, or can they sign up at any time?
So the link that you have below, it's not a sign up link. This is pretty much because a lot of people come to me and say, you know what, like, I don't know what this business is all about. So this is what this link is going to tell them, right? It's a 25-minute workshop. I don't have like a sell at the end or anything like that. It's just 25-minute workshop, me kind of going over what the concept is, how it looks like, what it is, and how I do it, right? Because different people have different approaches,
right?
How I personally approach it. Now, at the end of that workshop, if someone watching, wants to kind of have more questions they want answered or want to find out how working with me personally looks like, I brought them to schedule a call where we get on the call, I answer all of their questions, address their concerns, figure out where they are, where they want to go. If I can help them, if I can explain to them how, my services work, how we can work together, things like that.
Great. Well, thank you very much. This is really exciting, and I'm going to look into the next step myself. Having a store, maybe there's a way of doing it. I don't know. Absolutely. So thank you very much. You're an inspiration. I like the whole fire in your belly. I like the drive that you have. You say hello to your dad for me, because obviously he's been your mentor, and without that from your dad, you wouldn't have got it in your genes. So I think that's really important. The other thing is your family. I think that's something in our culture we just don't have. We don't have that family support that you have, right? And now you have a beautiful wife to support you as well. So you're a very fortunate man. So it was great talking to you.
Absolutely, man. Likewise. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Bye for now.
Take care. Bye-bye.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca. and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.